Welcome to episode 3 in the area of depression, triggers, and patterns, understanding your lows. This video is on environmental and situational triggers. Perhaps you're already aware that some environmental and situations can trigger you, and maybe you're doing what you need to, which is creating healthy boundaries or changing your space in order to live a healthier lifestyle for yourself. Maybe you're not quite aware yet that there are environmental and situational triggers for you, and you're trying to do the beginning work of understanding why you're so depressed all the time, or maybe anxious all the time, right? Some other heavy emotion as well. So here we're gonna hopefully help discover some of this for you. And the theme for this video is how surroundings and life stressors influence depression. So the invisible weight around you. Sometimes your mood dips not because of what's happening inside you, but because of what's happening around you. And the environment you live in, the stressors you face, and even the weather can quietly pull you into a depressive low. These triggers often go unnoticed, but once you see the patterns, you may realize, oh, this low actually makes sense to me. So, in this episode, we'll explore how to recognize environmental and situational triggers so you can respond with more awareness and care. So, let's get started. So, knowing what environment triggers are in the first place. So, your surroundings affect your nervous system more than you think they do. So, cluttered spaces, overwhelm and decision fatigue, lack of light, sluggishness, worsen seasonal depression, noise or overstimulation, irritability and tension, isolation in your home, amplifying loneliness. Sometimes we can't always help our environmental triggers. So, if you think about noise or overstimulation, maybe you have young kids and you get overstimulated by them by the end of the day. It's really hard to ignore or change that situation, right? That's where we put in healthy boundaries, where if we have a partner, allow the partner when they get home to spend 30 minutes with their children. Will you take 30 minutes to breathe, or an hour? We can do small things to help us. If a work is an environmental issue for you, then maybe it's time to look for a new job to kind of help that stressor decrease for yourself. Again, really important. We're just learning how to become aware of what we need to change. So where do we go from here? Well, knowing your situational triggers is important as well. So life circumstances can also spark or deepen our lows. So financial stress, major life changes, moves, breakups, new jobs, work or school pressure, relationship tension, uncertainty about the future. These situations don't just create stress, they can become repeated mood dips if not noticed. Again, we can work on changing these things when we have long-term and short-term goals. Those help us perhaps when we're in financial stress, when we have major life changes, even work or school pressures. These can all help us out. And of course, if we have relationship tension, perhaps seeing a good therapist can always help alleviate some of that. So here's a gentle reminder. My stressors are not flaws, they're context. Again, they're just making us aware of what we need to do, whether that's changing some things on how we view the world, or getting some help through therapy, or changing our long-term and short-term goals. That can also help us. So now where do we go from here? Well, we have to understand practical ways to notice and respond. So track some patterns. Keep a quick journal. When did my low start and what was happening around me? There's many different depressive diagnoses you can get, and sometimes they are just situational. Maybe you've had a loved one that has passed away, or you have had a breakup, or a job change, or got fired from a job. These can all lead to a depressive low. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have depression for the rest of your life. It just means you're in a situation where some things may need to change. You may need to recognize it just takes time in order for that depression to lift, and then things will get better. Other times, we are actually more of a depressive person, I guess, where we have more depressive lows than other people do. And then we just need to understand that, we need to keep our environment a certain way and maybe lessen some situational triggers so that we can keep our depression at the higher level of functioning than the lower level of functioning. So, environmental care. Tiny steps, open your blinds, clear one surface, or step outside for 2 minutes out of the day. Situational awareness. Ask, am I reacting to something happening right now, or is this an old pattern resurfacing? Here's an anchor thought. My environment impacts me. It's not all in my head. So here we are at the end. So let's wrap up and recap. Your space as a signal. By naming your environment and situational triggers, you can stop blaming yourself and start seeing the full picture. It never works to blame ourselves. We are obviously the ones reacting, so we need to be accountable for that. We just don't have to be so harsh, and we can start making those small changes today. So in the next episode, we'll shift inward and explore thought triggers, the inner critic at work. We'll talk about how certain thoughts can spiral into depressive lows and how to catch them before they do take over. Here's the comment section. Comment on anything about this video, anything about your triggers and patterns, depression, or any other heavy emotion that you may be having. And if you're having a hard time knowing what to comment on, here's a question for you. What's one environmental or situational trigger that I do have? So remember, changing everything isn't the goal, awareness is. Even noticing one trigger is a step toward gentleness. So if this video resonated with you today, take a breath before you go, let what you heard settle in, and know that you're not alone on this journey, and you do not have to do it all at once. And if you're feeling like it, give this video a like so other people can find it. Subscribe for new content every day, every week. And remember, here we take tiny steps, we do real talk, and honest healing. And if you made it this far, you get to hear about the journals and the children's book I've created. These journals go hand in hand with these videos to really just help you to increase healthy behaviors and decrease any unhealthy behaviors, and perhaps just to become aware of where changes do need to be made. There's an anxiety journal, a self-love, self-discovery, self-discipline journal, and a beach theme journal. And then, of course, there's some children's book and a workbook. So the children's book is where your child gets to learn about bravery, courage, and spark. Of course, there's worksheets at the end where they get to write about their own bravery, courage, and spark. Hopefully this helps them to start understanding that they have it inside of them, to really push through hard things when they occur in life. And then there's the children's workbook. This is all the things that I would do in therapy with young kids to start off, where we talk about what are emotions, where do we feel them in our body, what's some new thoughts for some old thoughts that we have that are more positive instead of negative, and a few other things for them in there as well. Again, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.